going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship. Today, at the request of Bruce Tommen, today we're covering straight out of Inner Sea Gods and Pathfinder's core pantheon, Erastil. If you guys have any requests, throw them in the comments. We'll get right on them. And remember, hey, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps out a lot. As we get underway, this episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship was brought to you in part by Joshua Pearson. Josh, my friend, thank you so much for all your support. I'm looking forward to playing Doomsday Dawn with you in just a couple weeks. Hype is real, but let's dive in. So hunting in humanity's early days was obviously a very important thing because, that's how we survived. And of course, in ancient polytheistic religions, gods of the hunt are very prevalent. The Greeks have Artemis, the Romans had Diana, the Anglo-Saxons had Woden, leader of the wild hunt, which exists as a group of outsiders in Pathfinder. I'll have to look more into that. And of course, the Norse had Odin, their chief god and ruler, who was associated with a bunch of things, up to and including the hunt. Also, it's worth noting that the Celts have Cernunnos, a horned god associated with fertility and hunting, who does appear in Pathfinder 1st Edition as one of the Imperial Lords, one of my favorites, to tell you the truth. But in Pathfinder, we have Erastil. Erastil is one of the oldest gods still worshipped in Avestan. His religion dates back to before the Age of Darkness, so the time of the Aslanti, when small farming communities and hunter-gatherers prayed to him for bountiful harvests and successful hunts. Erastil is the god of hunting, but he's also the god of farming, leading his followers by example and good deeds rather than flowery rhetoric. Erastil is an elder deity. Legends claim that it was old Deity himself who crafted the first bow and gifted it to humans, a gift to assist them in overcoming the challenges of the world. Even as civilization drives forward, Erastil continues to embrace and represent the simpler pleasures life has to offer, and Erastil teaches his followers to embrace these simple pleasures, free of the constraints of modern civilization. Of course, this is a trait that often results in disagreements with more progressive deities, think Abadar, and these differences of opinions lead to increasing conflicts between these deities' respective clergies. Depictions of Erastil are commonplace in the homes of his followers. Such images usually portray an elfin man, either an aged human with the bow and gear of a trapper, or as an elk-headed humanoid. These depictions often show old Deity holding fast against various beasts and animals of the wild. In times of need, Erastil has also been known to appear to lost hunters in the form of a stag. Erastil's faithful can be found in nearly every wilderness community in Avestan. They usually choose to live simple lives and practice his teachings away from complication. The members of old Deity's clergy are active in their respective communities, leading by example and serving in various capacities as needed by those that live around them. The clergy's formal dress is kept simple to reflect the deity's taste, a simple fur cloak, leather cloak, usually accompanied by Erastil's holy symbol burned into the hide or worn as part of a wooden clasp. Erastil is lawful good. His domains are animal, community, good, law, and plant, with the subdomains Archon, good, Archon, law, education, community, family, feather, fur, growth, and home. His favorite weapon is the longbow, and his symbol, a bow and arrow. To perform Erastil's deific obedience, honestly one of the most powerful in my opinion, in Pathfinder 1st Edition, one must plant 5 seeds in fertile earth, spacing them out in the shape of an arrow. The seeds may be those of any plant that can potentially grow in the region, though edible plants are preferred. The seeds don't need to be from a type of plant that could thrive in that soil. All they must have is a chance at survival. If no suitable earth exists, place a small bundle of seeds. Again, those that grow edible plants are preferred. A small bundle of preserved food, or a quiver of arrows, in a place where a passerby might see it. Mark your gifts with Erastil's sign and say a prayer for the health and safety of the communities in the area and those who may be in need of Erastil's guidance. In return, you gain a +4 sacred bonus on survival checks. Now, normally this is the part where I will tell you about the obediences and the paladin codes and stuff, but as of Planar Adventures, we've got a new thing that our deities, specifically our core deities, can grant us: divine gifts. Divine gifts in Pathfinder 1st Edition are left strictly to the discretion of the GM, but at times when a character performs a particularly devout act or completes a legendary crusade, the character's deity might choose to reward them with a divine gift. All of the core deities in Pathfinder do have one, up to and including Erastil. Erastil's divine gift is 3 greater slaying arrows. The designated creature for each of these 3 arrows is determined by the GM. The magic of these greater slaying arrows vanishes if they are sold, but they can be given to others in trade for goods or as a gift. If a worshipper of Erastil fires one of these greater slaying arrows and misses, the arrow vanishes, and a slaying arrow of the same type appears in the gifted character's quiver. If the regular slaying arrow is then fired only to miss its target, it has a 50% chance to be lost as normal. That's pretty good, yeah. Greater slaying arrows are powerful. Evangelist boons, the best boon you can get. Seriously, for Erastil, follow this card right up here to be directed to a really old video if min-maxing is your jam. We did an archery competition between the Zen Archer and the Soha, 2 monk archetypes. Damage output is super crazy, and it's because of this boon right here. Let's get right to it. It grants you Cure Light Wounds 3 times a day, Shield Other twice a day, or once a day prayer. At level 16, once per day, as a standard action, you can summon an exact double of your animal companion. This double acts and thinks like your animal companion in every way and obeys your commands just as the original would. Your original animal companion and its double understand and trust each other perfectly. The double remains for 1 round for every hit dice you possess and then vanishes. If you don't have an animal companion, you instead gain the ability to use Summon Nature's Ally 5 as a spell-like ability once per day, so that's really good. I took this on a monk, but I could just as easily take this on a hunter or a druid. I really like my war cat. You know what I like better though? 2 war cats. Anywho, at level 20, the huge capstone here, you are particularly skilled at using Erastil's favorite weapon. When using a longbow, you add your wisdom bonus on attack and damage rolls against targets within 30 feet. Yeah, no, that's amazing. Before any other crazy shenanigans, that's dexterity and wisdom to attack, strength and wisdom to damage. That's 2 ability scores going into a couple things, which can make the character be pretty mad, but dip Evangelist, get to 20th level, I'm sure you have enough gold to make sure all of those stats are relevant, and you're wrecking the house with a longbow. Seriously, it's so good. Anywho, Exalted Boons grant us Charm Animal 3 times a day, Animal Messenger twice a day, or Summon Nature's Ally 3 once a day. At level 16, once per day, as a standard action, you can summon a pair of Hound Archons. The Hound Archons follow your commands perfectly for 1 minute for every hit dice you possess before vanishing back to their home in heaven. The Hound Archons don't follow commands that would violate their lawful good alignment. Such commands will not only earn refusal and scorn from these Hound Archons, but could cause them to attack you. Same old, just play a hunter. Go Evangelist, be amazing with a longbow, also have 2 dinosaurs. Super good. At level 20, your devotion to caring for your community allows you to evoke Erastil's divine bounty to feed your friends with a banquet of cooked game and simple beverages. Once per day, you can use Hero's Feast as a spell-like ability. Creatures that eat from this communal table, the process that takes an hour, it's a big meal, gain a +2 sacred bonus on attack rolls and will saves instead of the usual +1 morale bonus, which means it would stack with someone else's Hero's Feast. We're all gonna get super fat. Whenever you cast this spell, choose 1 teamwork feat. You may select a new feat every time you cast this spell, but once it's cast, your selection can't be changed. Anyone who eats from the communal table gains the benefits of the chosen teamwork feat. The benefits of the Hero's Feast, including the bonus teamwork feat, last for 12 hours. A character doesn't need to meet the prerequisites, so a bunch of archers give him target of opportunity. Seems real good. Sentinel Boons grant us Long Shot 3 times a day, Deadeye's Arrow twice a day, or Flame Arrow once a day. At level 16, when you wear armor made from leather or animal hide, the armor provides an extra +2 armor bonus to your AC. This bonus improves the normal armor bonus granted by the armor. In other words, it stacks with the suit's normal armor bonus. You also mystically subsume some of the qualities of the animal that gave its life for the armor. You gain scent with a range of 30 feet while wearing armor made from leather or animal hide. That's not bad either. At level 20, your time spent cultivating crops has given you a bond with plants. You can cast Speak with Plants 3 times a day. If you spend at least 1 hour during the day in direct sunlight, you don't need to eat that day. Finally, you become immune to poisons ingested from whole plants, not distilled poisons, and any poison from attacks or effects generated by plant creatures. So yeah, all 3 of these are pretty solid. And of course, Erastil is lawful good. As such, he does in fact have a Paladin code. It goes as follows. My community comes first, and I'll contribute to it all that I can. If I don't give something back, who will? I must offer the poor in my community assistance, but may not do the work for them. Instead, I must teach them to contribute to the settlement. It is only through cooperation that a community grows strong. When danger threatens, I am not a fool. I seek first to make sure the weak and innocent are safe, and then I quell the danger. I keep to the old ways, the true ways. I am not seduced by the lure of money or power. I remember that true honor comes from within, not from the accolades of others. I remember that reputation is everything. Mine is pure and upstanding, and I will repair it if it is broken or tarnished. I stand by my decisions and live so that none shall have cause to blame me. I show respect to my elders, for they have done much. I show respect to the young, for they have much left to do. I show respect to my peers, for they carry the load, and I shall carry it with them. I am honest, trustworthy, and stable. If I must leave my lands and community, before I go, I ensure that they will be tended in my absence. Even when duty calls, my duties to my home come first. Letting them lapse makes me a burden on my people. So yeah, Erastil straight up is my favorite of the lawful good deities, both in terms of the power of his obedience, seriously, it's really nuts, and in his flavor. I'm not gonna live here too much longer, matter of fact I'm moving at the end of the month, but I'm from a small town, and in high school I lived in a much smaller town. My graduating class in high school was 37 kids. We were a big class. Anyway, though I never really fit in with that kind of community, they definitely do exist on the backs of one another. As I grow older, I realize that's because there are much less opportunities in the small town world than there are in a big city, hence my move. Nevertheless, it's heartening to know that the community has each other's back and that everyone is striving to be the best them that they can be for the good of the people around them. Honestly, I can resonate with this a little more than my chaotic good tendencies normally do for pretty much that exact reason. I don't want to be a burden on anybody. I do my best to be honest and trustworthy and stable around all of my friends and family. Well, really, I don't have a lot of family, to be honest with you. Friends and friends I consider family, and I'm okay with, I guess, sometimes moonlighting as a lawful good paladin of Erastil. I'm gonna need some alignment changing something. Anyway, moving forward, I have definitely played several Erastil worshipping characters in my day. I have an Inquisitor in my back pocket who I thought was a Paladin, but actually, now that I've seen some Inquisitors played, is an Inquisitor of Erastil, sneaking around, throwing Bane down with a longbow and or a bunch of natural attacks. I haven't fully built him out. But the character I got to the highest level I've ever been to, using an epic level chart level 32, was a Centaur Monk who double-dipped Paladin, single-dipped Evangelist to do some real crazy stuff with that Evangelist boons. And through that, even before hitting the epic levels, the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, yeah, no. Some of my patrons will attest, because one of them GM'd, one of them was a player. Zuriel went down in one round, full attacking with a longbow, adding charisma, dexterity, wisdom to attack, 2 strength, and wisdom to damage before anything like magic, and having a bajillion attacks, and having clustered shots, and it was amazing. It's really powerful. 10 out of 10 would play that Centaur again. And the Centaur wasn't even a Centaur for min-maxing purposes, is the ironic bit here. Literally just wanted to play a horse archer, didn't want to track stats for the horse. And there we go. Ended up being one of my most favorite characters. Hopefully Centaurs get maybe a little bit of a balance in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, so I can bring him back. However, now, if I were to GM for a player who worshipped Erastil, in addition to me feeding them character optimization routes, because oh god is it there, there's a pretty big theme here that I like, that theme being small town versus big city. Adventures kind of, sort of, usually seem to start out in that small town and then make their way to the big city, and that's a pretty big character arc for someone who worships Erastil. You start out comfortable in your community, doing what you can, hunting deer, farming crops, taking care of the people around you, and then you have to leave, and then you go to the city where no one cares about each other, and everyone has crappy little studio apartments and works part-time at some local guild or something like that to just scrape by and make ends meet. It's a huge culture shock, right? For somebody who's from a small town, it's 100% how I'd do it. But what do you guys think about Erastil? Have you played a character who worshipped Erastil? Have you used Erastil in your games? And are we hoping to see the power of Erastil come back in Pathfinder 2nd Edition? Because, oh man, I am. And hey, if you'd like, you can follow this card right up here, we're giving away a copy of Fantasy Grounds Ultimate Edition. One copy's good enough for you and all your players, and there's no better way to promote the worship of old Deadeye than through fancy virtual tabletop. But that's all we have for today. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. I know I said that we were going to do 4 core deities in a row, but one of my patrons made a request, and patron requests do cut to the front of the line. The next episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship, where we're covering Feronia, more important than you might think, drops next Wednesday.